I think rather than having you listen to me, we'll go straight to Q&A and comments. I just want to say personally, you know, you guys did such a wonderful job in coverage. This is always a challenge. At one moment I'm thinking, oh, what a great job covering James, really capturing something sincere. Because I don't know what you guys think, but he seems like a very down-to-earth, decent, honest human being. And of course, then you have juxtaposed, you did great work on Francis. So the conflict in that third act is really profound. So terrific job. Because you never know in contemporaneous documentary filmmaking, right? You're hoping you'll have conflict, you're hoping you have either a tragedy or a happy ending. Let's make sure. You're good. Test.
I was actually hoping there would be less conflict because both those guys are my friends, and I was kind of going in. The whole time I was like talking to Francis and James about this, like as we were shooting, as we were getting the story going, and as things started to get more tense, I was just like, we're not doing a breakup story. We're not doing a breakup story. We're not doing a breakup story. And at a certain point, it's not, I hope it doesn't feel like a breakup story, but at a certain point, you just have to follow the story. But we weren't pushing for the conflict. Actually, a lot. There's some scenes I caught that were like, oh, I'm sorry, this isn't that interesting. It's like not that. And I'm like, we don't need conflict. You know, we can just like follow you guys making a movie.
And that was your original intent, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, but at the same time, if I'm being honest with myself, you make something where the stakes are that high, you start following a story where the stakes are that high, there's going to be conflict, and that's how you know. I mean, that's how, like, sort of subconsciously I knew that story was going to be worth following, even if I didn't want to see my friends get mad at each other.
Yeah, I mean, you hope that you'll have a parallel success like you had with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, for example.
Right.
And it definitely didn't show up here. It worked for Francis, however we define success, right? So let's open it up for comments and questions. Go ahead and raise your hand and we'll get to you. There's one right back. Oh, there. And then we'll get you, okay?
I wanted to ask, so your footage spans over like 2 years. When did you guys decide?
3.5.
Right. When did you guys decide, like, we're done? Because theoretically, you could keep collecting footage forever.
That's a great question. It never ends. In some ways, it's still going right now with this film festival. As far as shooting, yeah, I mean, when was it? Last year, we like cut them off. We were like, all right, we're gonna do a couple pickups and then we're done. Actually, our producer Deb was here, and that last scene that we had in there was the last. There was some moving things around a little bit, but she was like, this is the last scene of your movie. Make it. And so we sort of like worked backwards a little bit and had, well, we need to end here so we can get some fill in the gappy bits and stuff, but.
I think a lot of documentary filmmakers can relate to that exact same problem. I think it's really hard to. I mean, or you even hear like painters say the same thing. Like when is it done? It's like it's kind of. I think that's one of the hardest questions about making something. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's one answer, but at a certain point we just had to cut it off. When we started, the movie was called Hire Your Friends, and then about a week into shooting with them during their production, I realized the film was probably going to be called Sell Your House, and then that made my heart sink because I realized it wasn't just going to be production; it was going to continue. Like, does James get his house back? And so that's what I started. I was like, we need to answer that question. Does James get his house back? And I was hoping that it'd be clean and somebody would just be like, here's $2 million, and we could be like, they did it. but it didn't happen, so he kept having to film because he never did get his house back. So, but like maybe he will. Well, I don't know.
We'll just keep shooting forever.
Behind you, Tim. Behind you.
I was in another movie, so I missed the first 5 minutes. So if you've already answered this in the beginning, well, I still want to know. But a properly executed contract between partners sometimes will allow for both partners to benefit from whatever success comes. So did they have any kind of agreement where, say, Francis is now going on to other successes? Is he obligated, or will he pay back James from some of his profits from the Evil Dead, either because he's nice or because they agreed in the beginning to do that?
I don't know. I don't think they have contracts between them that dictates like any financial responsibility outside of Last Stop, the movie that they made. I don't know what's gonna happen. I mean, they're still friends. They still talk. Things aren't. I mean, as we said at the end, like things aren't the same. But so I mean, it's a tricky place to be in. And so yeah, I mean, the short answer is I don't know. I mean, we'll see what happens, but I think that. My guess is that James will make his money back from that movie, because it's still making money right now. And so I'm hoping that that'll end up making it okay. For whatever reason. I mean, I don't know if money makes anything okay, but it helps. Hopefully it helps a little bit, you know.
Hi. Oh my God, what a movie! I was
Thank
so blown away by your editing and I'd like to know more about how you chose the music and who did that.
Oh, well,
Like,
Alexander, maybe audience, stand up, Alexander, hire him. I like that.
Yeah, it was so incredible. Like every single, I'm like, oh my God, look what they're doing with that scene. It was so amazing.
Thank you very
So
much.
thank you guys for making this movie.
That's
Yeah, and
the
you know,
first
and
time
and
anyone's said that, so
directing.
thank you. Sorry?
What's that?
Sorry, I said that was the first time anyone's thanked us for making this movie, so thank you for thanking us.
It was so wonderful, thank you. What a good lesson for all of us filmmakers. A really super, super good lesson. Thanks again.
Appreciate that.
My question is, did you have to sell a house to make your documentary? The second question is, do any of those three fantastic posters to promote the film ever see the light of day? And let's hope your documentary helps him to get his money back.
As far as funding this movie, everybody in the room can thank the Discovery Channel and the show Naked and Afraid we would have to leave every so often making this to go into the jungle and hurt ourselves for this. So, and occasionally there were times when I was shooting parts of the movie, all the script stuff. It was all shot with like macro lenses and stuff, so I'd like work in the day and then be like, oh, I get to go work in my hotel room on the movie now, yay, great. So that was pretty much how we funded it. And also, we went broke a lot. And then,
Yeah, we missed actually we premiered at the Santa Barbara International, which is obviously not as good as this festival, but we didn't get to go because we had to go, feed the bank monster.
Was this a good experience in this theater then?
This
This
was,
was brilliant.
we should probably just forget that we went to that festival. It's so good. The posters did see the light of day though. They ended up in there's like a box set. There's a Europe or Australian box set that did an amazing job with all the posters. There was like all the artworks in there. So yeah, those posters are definitely out there.
Yeah, some of the artists sold some of them online as well. There's one great artist named Nicholas Mowgli who did an alt poster for us that we're going to be putting out at some point as well, and he did an alt poster for them, so go check that out, plugging Nicholas Mowgli.
I'm really blown away about how the film has evolved from, I think, a year ago from when you had sent me a preview of it. It seems like it's changed a lot. If you could tell us a little bit about the editing process between now and then. Also, are there any scenes from the film that Francis had told you that he did not want in it? Can you tell us about those as well?
Take the first one.
Well, the first part was how it's changed from a year ago.
You saw the like 2-hour cut.
Oh yeah. So yeah, it's hard to get long movies out there, and hard, it's sort of this thing like, okay, we gotta cut it down because it's 2 hours and that's kind of a little bit too long. So we cut it down to 1:45, and we said there's zero chance that we can cut it anywhere near anything less than this. We've done it, and then we were told it has to be 90 minutes. So we said, shit, and went and just hacked it, and
Yeah.
it's kind of fast in some places now, but we had to get it down. So yeah, we have cut, but mostly for the best, I think. But
Yeah, I think that a lot of the cuts really hurt, but at the end of the day, it became a better movie with the shorter version. As far as people not wanting certain scenes in the film, I made a deal with James and Francis from day one that they would have veto power at any point along because I never wanted this to affect our friendship. That's a really stupid thing to do. I don't recommend any filmmaker ever do that. But as we went on, it wasn't veto power without me arguing. So, for example, the Faison scene Francis was like, you can't put that in your movie. This is like very early on, and I was like, I just kept fighting him, and then there was a cut later, like 3 years later, where we cut the Faison scene. We're like, maybe because it's one of the longest scenes in the movie. We're like, maybe we don't need it. We cut it. I sent Francis a cut. He's like, what the fuck did you do with the Faison scene? That needs to be in there. So, you can still fight back and forth, but there was a few fights that we lost. There was one where that last scene with his kids interrupting the interview in his living room. There was actually a part where they started having a really loud fight, his two kids, Emmett and Gianna, and I started intercutting that with cutting back between James and Francis to kind of illustrate that symbolism, and he was like, you can't fucking put my kids fighting in your movie, so, that's not cool. So, and I was like, I was arguing with him, and then he brought Rachel in, and she was like, you're not putting my kids fighting. And I was like, alright, Rachel said like, you can't. That's a good question, though.
Hello, congratulations. Absolutely love the film.
Thank you.
My first question is, do you know if anyone from Welgo USA has seen this film and what they think about it? My second question is, you can answer that one first if you want.
oh yeah, no.
They're getting closer and closer to seeing it though, because we just got rejected from a festival because they're one of their sponsors.
Getting there.
Yeah.
Getting there. The day will come.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that sucks. Screw those guys. I just want to tell you, before I came in here, I don't know if Powell is here. Powell, are you here? One of our partner festivals, we have alliances, and some of you have seen Powell Montague here, who's one of the judges. And he talked to me outside, and there's a few films that he wants to invite to Docs Mex, which is the largest dog festival in Latin America, Mexico through South America. And your film is going to be invited.
Amazing.
You're here first. Thank you.
Where's the semester last night?
Yeah, so
question is, did he ever get another bouncy ball?
Oh, no.
He found it though.
We did?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow.
There's
We were there to film
he
it.
sent me a photo of Ed holding it.
Boo.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Oh, over Martine.
Hi, this was great.
Hi.
I'm watching my life.
Yeah, imagine making it, watching your own life, and you're like, oh god.
Question about, did you get an E&O and all this for this one? So that logo can go to you?
So that's, we're will be after festivals for us, but that's definitely gonna happen. We hired a lawyer to, tell us exactly what, is going to make it possible to get E&O or not.
Clearance lawyer,
Sorry?
a clearance lawyer.
Yeah. So she basically went frame by frame and was like, this is high risk, I recommend you remove this, I recommend you change this. It was a pretty exhaustive process.
Well, you blocked faces.
Yeah,
Block face.
that was,
There were other things we didn't really know about, like, for example, at one point James says, or he used to say, it was a little fuzzy what the truth was at the end there of, I talked to them on the phone and they said this thing. And so I took that as like their word, right, or their word. But we weren't sure if he was kind of like embellishing. So him saying that as fact ended up being higher risk because that might be defamation because they might not have done that.
So
it's
this
stuff
is
like
the
that.
cut after the clearance?
Yeah, this is
Once you
five.
remove
Yeah.
all the
It used to be way worse.
Yeah.
We used to
Yeah.
we just
Real.
wait for them.
Yeah.
Great job anyway.
Alright, thank you.
You have one up there, Tim?
Somebody? Another question? Thank you for bringing the bird back in at the very end. Really, I'm
She
kind of
loves
a
birds.
nature girl.
Yeah.
So
I love
I just
birds
thought
too.
that was a nice little touch, just to perch him in the bush.
It's on the poster, it's on the logo too.
Yeah.
In contrast to the massive explosion. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank the birds. Oh, wait. I got one more. No, yes.
It's me again.
Hello again.
Why did he invest $1 million without researching how distribution works
Oh, great question.
and having somebody look over his contracts? I know things have changed a lot, but last time I was at Cannes, I remember them going around and trying to get distribution and get movie theaters to accept their movie first, and then they took that to the financiers, and then the financiers gave them the money because they already had places that it was going to be playing. But that was, I don't know if that's old school now, but it just seems like for $1 million, there should have been a little more research.
James is one of the most interesting business people I've ever met. His instincts are unparalleled. Like nobody, like his taste, his instincts, like he finds people throughout his career, he's just found amazing people to work with, and that's worked really, really well for him. That's his talent, and it's an amazing talent. He's really good at it. I mean, he found Francis. Like, Francis owes his career to James. Along with that talent, I think comes some weaknesses, and him like understanding the like nitty-gritty business side of how it all works like on spreadsheets is not his strength. He just like you can probably explain it to him more than a few times, and he just like for some reason it doesn't click. And I don't mean that as an insult because I do think he's like probably one of like he has this like incredible ability to do things. So I think in the future, he's learned some big lessons, and he's working on a new film right now, and that will probably involve more people that can help him on that side. Yeah, there were some things that he overlooked for sure. And I think he would say that as well.
Coming back to the same, kind of the same question, where was the producer? Because I'm a producer, so I'm like, there's a financier who doesn't know his first time investing in film. There's a filmmaker, it's his first feature film. The first thing to look for is a producer who knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because they know the whole process.
I think it's easy to like assume.
I'm so sorry, I saw in your
No.
film that one of the guys had the title producer, so is it him or?
I think it's so easy to look at this story in hindsight and be like, yeah, why didn't you like assume exactly this would happen? But like going into it, you're like, oh yeah, we're making this tiny little indie movie, and we've never done this before, and they're kind of like they're figuring it out as they went, and they didn't really know. And
I did the exact same thing, that's why
Yeah.
I'm asking, and the first thing I did was look for a producer because I was coming from nothing. We spent $1 million, we lost $2 million,
oh wow.
700, 800, but that's the first thing you look for is a.
And that's like part of what this movie's about, right? Is like trying to help people see this type of situation, or like at least like see the surface of it, so that they know what questions they might need to ask before going into something like this. Yeah.
Thank you.
Since you're still here, and I'm still pondering the music, I was wondering if maybe your music guy, because he stood up, right? What's your-
Alex Fender, everybody, Alex Fender.
So I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about how your process was in creating that magnificent soundtrack. It was just so fantastic. And their use of the drums and all kinds of crazy sounds that just work so perfectly.
Speak, Alex, speak.
Well, thank you so much. This was my first time scoring a film. I've worked
So
on.
talented, my God.
Thanks. No autograph. I've worked on film scores before, animated short scores with friends who are composers, and I myself am a touring musician and recording producer, and I mix records and produce records and play in bands and do tours. That's my musical thing. But I was in a band. Eric Foss and I went to college together, and I think he thought of me because of music that I'd written.
I was a huge fan of his band.
Thanks, man. And so, when I came onto the project, something like 40 to 50% of the music, the drumming, like the stuff that's only drums, is recorded. That's Francis playing drums.
It's actually Francis's buddy. There's a band called Mount Joy,
Right.
and the drummer for the band, Mount Joy, Francis's friend, did a lot of the percussion-y stuff. And then we had a lot of spaces that still need to be filled, and we said, oh shit.
Right, so then there's temp music for that. So the process was just, I went through and did a first pass of a lot of these pieces, like 20 different compositions or something, and I don't know at what point you came into the studio with me. I had to squeeze this project into a very short timeline. I mean, you had a timeline anyway,
Right.
but I was about to leave on a world tour that went from like September to December, and we had to finish it before I left. So there's a lot of crazy scheduling.
As I remember, we both me and Brandon had a little bit of a music background, so we were able to get on the phone and like talk through with our temp music, kind of talk through what we were going for, like what worked about our temp, what didn't, and we made a pretty like exhaustive like Google Doc of things like that. But then Fender really just like kind of disappeared for a while, and then a song would like pop out, and then another song would pop out, another song would pop out, and most of them were like very few notes, and then there's a few that were just tricky. It's just tricky scenes, like especially the more emotional scenes. I think like the last few songs. But by the way, today I was watching, I was like, Jesus, he fucking killed it. It was so good. But
my favorite scene is that long back and forth between Francis and James with the bouncy ball. And that was a really impactful scene to me watching the film for the first time. And that music for that, I had made a song, produced a song on an album that you guys had listened to, and you're like, oh, that's a pretty good vibe for this. So I sort of made something based on that in terms of its tempo. And it had a lot of layers, and a lot of what was in there is I would just run the 4-minute piece and just improvise on different instruments, piano and bass, and I would just like layer it all over time. But when I submitted that one, at first you guys were like, this is actually not the tone that we wanted. And so then when we went into the studio together, Eric came to my studio, or both you guys did, and we just sat there and just muted things one by one, took away layers. And what's really cool is at the end of it, most of what remains is just this piano take. That was just the first time I played through it. And it was just playing along with the structure that was there, but then we removed the structure, and it has this really beautiful amount of space to it. I'm really proud of my work on that and your work on that and how they come together.
I think like the overall, like what we ended up, almost every song, we just removed things.
Yeah.
That was like, that ended up being the through line is like, what happens if what does it sound like we take with this, that, and this away? And we would, yeah, like you said, we started with like bare bones structure and then started to add something in here and there, and then like, it was like 2 a.m. and then you like started to go a little crazy and you like add some weird like tapping on a guitar body or something, and then that becomes a thing. Yeah.
It's very fun.
Very, very well done. Did you work with the editor as you were editing the music, or that's a whole separate
We
thing?
were the editors, so the answer is yes.
So both of you were the editors, because I wasn't sure, I knew you're the director, but this other guy, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, well, so we edited it together, we directed it together. Unfortunately, we had no money, so we would have absolutely loved to get an editor, but oops, we're broke, so we had to just do it ourselves. And we had one other guy, a guy named Will Packey helped us out, so he was our third editor as well.
Our producer Deborah Lee Smith's in the audience somewhere.
Stand up! Oh my God, it's Deborah!
That was it for my career. Yeah, other people are in New York and Austin, or in Austin and LA right now. They couldn't get away, but thank you guys so much. Oh yeah.
Oh, thank you, Deborah. See that? She's our marketing genius as well. How to follow us? Sell Your House Film on Instagram. We also have a Substack, which is Sell Your House Film. We also have a website, which is Sell Your House Film. Deborah, do you have any? Yeah, okay, no, if you give me thumbs up, we're good. TikTok. Oh, we have a TikTok, which is Sell Your House Film.
All those links will come to the website.
Yes. Anyway.
Just one comment too,
Yes.
you should send this film to every institution that teaches filmmaking.
Oh, and that is our other next thing. So if anyone has any leads with that, we are trying to get into some film schools and do like a little tour and go through. So yeah,
They love all the bad words.
Yeah. One or two. Anyway,
Over 150.
thank you everyone for coming out.
Thank you, Brandon. Congratulations. I hate goodbyes as far as endings, but we'll see you at MDocs 2027. Everyone, congratulations.